it's Dalton from Caffeine GT. As you can see, I'm wearing my B5 S4 t-shirt. You can get those at www.caffeinegt.com. And this is the reason why I like this t-shirt so much, because it reminds me of one of my favorite cars. So anyway, as you can see, I'm sitting on a Mazda Miata seat here in the garage today because I went and bought a Project Mazda Miata. Bought it to build it up, to take it to the track, and I'll be talking about that car a little bit more as you go along. I've been trying to figure out, what kind of format to create for, YouTube content here. I saw that the review that I did on the Jaguar, which is, sitting right here in the garage, it got a lot of views, and that's pretty cool. But I don't know if I do enough video editing to just kind of keep stuff rolling there, so figured, I'm going to try some stream of consciousness stuff. So anyway, the Miata seat was actually kind of a fiasco. If you go to my Instagram page, it's at the Caffeine GT shop. If you look in my stories, you'll see, well, they might not be there anymore, but you'll see the fitment issues that I had. The top of my helmet went just above the roll bar, so I'm going to go to a shop hopefully this week and find out if they have any suggestions, because I'm 6 feet tall. I'm not like super tall. I'm not super short either. So I'm thinking that I'm average enough to where the Miata shop will have resolved this issue for other people, because I really don't want to sell that car. I bought a lot of parts for it. It's just a hoot to drive. It's 150 horsepower, and I actually want a slow car to take around the track, because the faster you go, the harder you crash. And I'm not planning on crashing, but anything is possible, oil on the track and all that kind of stuff. And so, and plus, slower cars tend to be a little bit more durable because you're not stressing out the engine. It's a 1.8 liter, makes about 150 horsepower. So you're not really stressing that engine out. And even if you did, I think you can get a new engine for that car for between $1,000 and $2,000, and they're incredibly easy to work on. Probably lift that engine out with one hand. I'm kidding. So yeah, that's the Project Miata. When I'm actually near that Miata again, because it's in storage, I'll do a video so that you guys can see it, see what it looks like. It's British Racing Green. It's got a roll bar. It's got bronze like racing wheels on it. I think it looks pretty sick. You can also see that on my Instagram page as well. So I'm just going to talk you through a little bit about the cars that I have. I've got a B5 S4, which is the one that you just saw. I've got the Jaguar, which I did the review on, and I've got the Miata. So here's the why. So I had a 370Z before I traded in and got the Jaguar. And I wanted to have an iconic car. I was thinking about getting a Porsche, and that fell through because the cost to get into a Porsche for what you got in return, to me it just didn't make sense. I test drove one, I think it was a 997.1 or 997.2, and I think they're asking for like $50,000 for it, and it surprisingly, it just wasn't comfortable. The car was not comfortable. I had a Z4M that was also a fun car but not comfortable, and I was like, I'm not paying $50,000 for a car that isn't comfortable. And so, as much as I wanted to be a Porsche owner, I wanted to really bad. I've been eyeballing those things for years. I just I wasn't down for that. Maybe in the future, if and when I get more parking, maybe I'll pick up like a 996. But until then, Porsche is just out of the running. So, what was the other, kind of iconic car that I could get in that price range? Well, I looked around. I was thinking about R8, but any decent R8 was going to run like, 70, 80 grand, maybe even more. Just did not feel like, spending that much. The other car that I'd always really, really loved was the Jaguar FTypeR. I just always thought that it was just so gorgeous. And I think that I don't think, I know, it's definitely an underrated car. I'm not sure why that is exactly, because it's gorgeous. Um, it's fast as all get out, 0 to 60 in like 3.7 seconds or something like that, depending on who you ask or which review. Anything under 4 seconds, that's fast. I don't actually want anything that is any faster than that. Well, as a matter of fact, why don't I show you the car as I'm talking about it? So, from every angle, the FTypeR is just so incredible to look at, and it's got that nice swooping roof line. It looks super modern, even though the one I have is a 2015. And yeah, so that's the story behind the FTypeR. The story behind this guy, the Audi S4, was I had an A4 back in the day, and it was a 2.8 liter, and I loved that car. I loved the driving dynamics. I loved how it sounded. I loved everything about the car, and it was practical. It was all-wheel drive. I owned it when I was living in Seattle, and it didn't matter if it was like raining or snowing. I never got stuck, because with other cars, you try to go up a hill in the wet and the rain, and especially the hills in Seattle, are really steep. You might just start sliding down it. Only one time, this is after a major snowstorm, did the Audi Quattro system ever fail to give me the amount of grip that I needed. So, but I sold that car because it was having electrical issues. I didn't want to deal with it. In hindsight, I probably could have taken it to a shop, spent, I don't know, 20, or sorry, maybe like $1,500, and had a perfectly good car. It was black too. It was so gorgeous. It had a perfectly good, naturally aspirated A4 that I could have, kept for a long time. And 2.8 liter engine, that's V6. That's not bad for a sedan that weighs like 3,500 pounds. It wasn't like super fast, but with those kind of cars, you don't really need it. So anyway, years later, after I'd gone through like a Land Rover, because I needed a winter car in Seattle, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go look for A4s. I want another one like the one that I had. And I was like, wait a second, there are S4s. Maybe I go that route. And so I picked it up. I picked that one up for like $5,000. I've proceeded to spend more money than I thought I was going to spend on fixing it up. And I was going to actually have that one be my track car. Because like everything I read was, don't use S4s for a track car. They're not really made for that. They're great, fun, sporty cruisers, but they're not, the kind of car that you push like that. And I was like, no, it'll be different for me. And so I built it coilovers, sway bar, tune, custom exhaust, wheels, tires, like this, like it's basically, ready to go to the track, save for one thing. They are incredibly difficult to maintain. Now, this car admittedly has never left me on the road before, except for once, and that's when the timing belt went out. And any car will leave you on the road with a timing belt, but the number of things I've replaced or had replaced is numerous. Had the front suspension rebuilt, had timing belt, water pump changed out, all the belts, da 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 da. The Achilles heel, if you were the no. The straw that broke the camel's back for me in terms of taking that car to the track is I had a turbo coolant return line go out on me, and I had to replace it. And everything I said, either you go in there and you cramp your hands for about 3 or 4 days and you replace that coolant line that has a banjo bolt that, you know, plugs into the turbo, or you pull the engine. And I was like, I'd rather spend the 3-4 days with my hands cramped, you know, down there in between the firewall and the bell housing and all that kind of stuff, than pull the engine out at this time. It just not something I wanted to do. And by the time I do have to pull the engine out, I'm probably going to pay someone else to do it, because that will be a pain. But that job was so difficult and so frustrating that I was simply elated to have the car running at all and drivable at all. And so what I did after that is I got, you know, there was some hail damage, and so I decided to, you know, while it's in the body shop, I may as well, you know, pay extra and get, you know, the front bumper and back bumper and other little bits and pieces resprayed and make it a nice looking car that can cruise around town. And that's what I did. And that is the story behind that one. Now, the Miata is like finally going to be the car that I actually take to the track. The last car I took to the track was my BMW Z4M. It was a great track car, but again, with BMW's maintenance kind of sucks. So I didn't keep that one. But the Miata, on the other hand, and again, when, you know, maybe I'll put a picture in the video, because I don't have to publish the video just like this. I can actually edit it and put pictures in. So maybe I'll put a picture of the Miata here or there, so you can see it. But that's what I'm building up. That is the story behind my cars. I don't know if I want any other cars. No, I'm lying. I want more cars. But realistically, I'm not independently wealthy, so I don't have time to drive all of them as much as I want. And you know me, I like to drive. So I think anything more than 3 would actually just be a waste of resources, especially when you do your own mechanical work and all that kind of stuff, because you don't want to be spending every single weekend, you know, fixing cars, as fun as that might sound. So that is the story, and I will try to continue to bring some content to this channel. It was really cool to see the amount of people who popped in and watched and commented on the Jaguar review. You know, maybe I'll do, you know, 5 things that surprised me about Miata ownership, and 5 things that surprised me about, you know, S4 ownership. And I'll do that sometime later. Until then, thanks so much for watching. And if you know, liked and viewed and commented on my last video, thank you so much, and my apologies for being late commenting back. I honestly wasn't expecting you know, that many views, so I went and I checked in. I was like, holy crap, I got, you know, these comments. And so I did my best to reply to the ones that, you know, that asked for responses, and I think went through and liked them all and stuff too. So anyway, I'll be seeing you.